Yes,
That was very good.
yes, Dr. Love. Of course, you have very good memories in your life about your work and your efforts. And could you please tell us about the most memorable moment of your efforts?
Wow, that's a hard one.
It's
Can
a
I
very
give a
sudden
few?
question.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we talk about education, and just as you are trying to teach an Islam that is true to the Quran and against terrorism of all kinds, so I'm trying to say, what does it mean to be a true follower of Jesus? And so one of the things we do at Peace Catalyst, we have a Love Your Neighbor dinner where Christians and Muslims come together, and the imam speaks about love of neighbor from an Islamic perspective. The pastor speaks about love of neighbor from a Christian perspective. Then there's Q&A. Then we have a meal together. And this has been a wonderful way of both informing, building bridges, building relationships. And one of the things that was so powerful is we were having, or the pastor, Pastor Jack, was speaking. At this point, we first went to the mosque, then the mosque later came back to our church in a few months afterwards. Pastor Jack Moraine, a vineyard pastor, was speaking, of course, of love of neighbor. And he said something like this. He says, well, you know, we are commanded to love our neighbor. We're even commanded to love our enemies. Now, I want to be clear. Now, just imagine there's 50 Christians, 100 Muslims in a mosque. And he says, I want to be clear. You are not our enemies. In fact, we are commanded to love you. And Jesus said that we need to get the log out of our own eye before we talk to others or challenge others. Yeah. And so, with all humility, Pastor Jack says, listen, we have not loved you as we should. Will you forgive us? You could hear a pin drop in that mosque. It was like a moment of great relief, of joy, and immediately my Muslim brothers and sisters felt, wow, that they are serious about peace. And so I was, that's just one of many high points, I think, that describes what a Jesus-centered approach where we try to get the log out of our own eye and acknowledge our issues and failures and then reach out. So I was proud of the pastor. I was happy to be there. And on a funnier note, if I will, then when the Muslims came to our church, one of our pastors, Pastor Danny, is a Texan, and he's really good at barbecue. and he bought half a side of beef, halal beef, and he made barbecue for our Muslim guests when they came to our church, and we had all kinds of Middle Eastern food, then this halal barbecue, and I laughed so hard. All the Muslims went back for seconds on the barbecue. We had the greatest time.
That is great. I mean, actually, let me tell you, this is from the Quran, inshallah. Allah says that Muslims are allowed to eat the meal of the Christians and the Jews. It's lawful. And also, Allah says Muslim men are allowed to marry Christian and Jewish wives. And Allah says, argue with the people of the book only in the kindest way. Kindest way. That means with respect, with love, and socialize with them. And have a marriage, actually. So there is no room for enmity and hatred. And the people of the book have to be respected. Allah says monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques, where Allah's name is mentioned much, are the places to be protected. And we believe this will happen with the unity, with the alliance of three Abrahamic religions. Peace will come to the entire world, not only to the Middle East, to the entire world. And in this system, with good religious morality prevailing the world, also the unbelievers will be the first-class citizens. They will be protected and respected also. And these days are very close by, we believe. Inshallah. Can we have your last messages since we came to the end of this beautiful conversation?
Yeah, I would say one other high point, if I may. When I was speaking in the Philippines and talking about protecting minorities and the common word and these kind of building bridges and peacemaking, I was so touched. Two things happened. One, at the end of the conference, a Filipino gal who was fully covered, had her hijab, hugged my wife, and then I stuck out my hand, and she said, "Can I hug you?" Now, you'll have to forgive me on this. I'm just telling you the story. Maybe I come across I'm the father figure or something, but so she gave me a big hug. Then the next morning, I met with the key high-level Muslim leaders for breakfast who attended this conference. At the end, we talked about various ways we could work together in the future. And you know, there's conflict in the south of the Philippines, and so this was a significant talk. And we shared very openly. And then as we left, I hugged one of the leaders goodbye, and he stopped. He says, "I already miss you." And so I was touched by that kind of reception of the Filipinos.
Yes. MashaAllah. Jerry, can we have your comment, please? Your last messages, last sentences.
Well, I haven't. I don't know if you guys have been paying a lot of attention, but I haven't really been on Facebook a lot lately. And actually, it's really ironic that I was on there this morning and posted what I did, because I had someone that was speaking against people that they didn't know. And what I posted was out of Surah Ad-Du'a, it was 24:27. And what it is, it says, as the story reached to the honored guest of Abraham, when they entered his dwelling and said, "Peace," he said, "Peace to people we do not know." So he slipped off to his household and brought a fattened calf. He offered it to them, and he exclaimed, "Don't you then eat?" I think that is very fitting to the closing argument, or the closing statements here, because what that is saying is that the people we do not know, the people that could be our enemies, welcome them in and show that respect and, you know, accept them for what they are. So I want to thank Mr. Love very much for being here. I really am glad to be back with you guys. It's been really nice to be here.
Yes, Dr. Love, it was a real great pleasure and honor to have you. And good people coming together is very important, like yourself, with wisdom and sincere believers. And this will generate power, and the other people will follow that, and the politicians will follow that. So religious people have to step forward. And this will generate a public demand, and other people and the politicians follow that. And this will definitely bring peace to the entire world. And we are planning a large meeting, which will be attended by prominent Christians, Jews, and Muslims in April 2013, this year, in Istanbul. And it will be a pleasure and honor to have you in this meeting and in this conference. And we will send you the details.
Please send me the invitation, okay?
Okay, definitely.
Of course, definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for...
Dr. Love, thank you very much for joining us. And Jerry also, thank you very much for your valuable comments. And thanks my friend Oktar and Gökalp here. So we come to the end of our show today. We had very great interview with Dr. Rick Lau. And on behalf of everyone here in Istanbul, we would like to say good night and God bless you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
And have a good day, actually. You're back. Say that.
Yes, morning here.
Okay, have a nice day.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.